Hey, Ideal Protein Nation. I hope you're sitting down for this one. This is going to be a wild and fun ride. Man, I couldn't be more excited about this show. I say it every time. This is going to be epicer than epic. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I hope that the Thanksgiving food coma is over and you're back in the groove, back what you should be doing and what's going on. But now we're getting in the Christmas season and the holiday season, lots of holidays coming up. This show is going to be geared towards getting you through the next 4 weeks until we get to the new year. For those of you who don't know anything about this show, you might be listening or watching for the first time. I've had a lot of people over the holidays trying to figure out what this show is. So the Life Possible podcast spotlights successful coaches, clinic owners, and clients who have used the Ideal Protein Protocol to reset their body, reset their mind, and actually reset what's possible for their life. These people are pursuing goals and dreams now that they thought were dead and gone. Some of them are pursuing goals and dreams they never thought they could. And still others are pursuing goals and dreams they never even knew they wanted to. In short, they're living what we like to refer to as life possible. It's my hope that you will watch these stories and understand that if these people can do this, so can you. Well, who am I and why am I even doing the program? Well, I tell you what, there's no two ways to put this. My name is Dr. John Barnes, and about 6.5 years ago, I was fat, sick, and depressed. And what's worse is I didn't see a way out. I make no bones about this. I truly believe that God brought me the Ideal Protein Protocol as the answer to so many of my prayers, both personally and professionally. Like I said, it's been 6.5 years now, and I find myself living my life possible. I am over 65 pounds down from that original picture, my original Ideal Protein weight. And this past September, I realized a 20-something goal where I competed in my first half Ironman triathlon event. Something that if you'd asked me in 2014 if I could ever even see myself swimming, biking, or running, I would have told you were crazy. So that's why I'm doing this. It's changed my life, and I just want to get the word out and help change as many lives as possible. So what's going on today? Well, I tell you what, today I even need a co-host to get through this show. It's going to be so epic. My co-host, you may or may not know her. She herself is an Ideal Protein celebrity. Miss Lynn Roos. Lynn was an amazing transformation that Ideal Protein created, a huge video. It was fantastic and so well received in their Amazing Transformation series. And she was a very successful client of mine. And now we claim her as one of our most amazing coaches. She's a certified Ideal Protein coach in my clinic. And man, I tell you, God brought her to me as well. So I am going to use Lynn to help me out with this show. I tell you what, let's do this. Lynn, are you there? Hey, there she is.
Hey, it's so
How are
nice
you?
to be here. I'm great. I'm so excited for today.
Man, I tell you, we were sweating it out. I still have splinters from building your studio. We put the studio together for Lynn. I don't know if you can see. We just even finished it up right before the show. We were tweaking her audio visual, and I think we've got it nailed. Do you like your studio, Lynn?
I love my studio. This is a dream come true. Another part of my transportation to be co-hosting with my mentor, my guru, Dr. Barnes.
Yeah, you know what? If I go on vacation, I know who can now do the show.
Let's get through it first and see.
Yeah, okay. That's a deal. That is a deal. So, Lynn, do we have anybody special coming on as a guest today?
A woman that has transformed my life. Someone who has made Ideal Protein just first. The flavors, the taste, the goodness. We have our Janeva with us again today.
So today we have none other than Janeva Caroline Eickhoff. Um, she is an Ideal Protein Nation icon. She's a reluctant celebrity, and she is a food musician. And I tell you, again, couldn't be more. You know how excited I am. So I tell you what, this is really kind of funny. Lynn and I have been working on this show, and we've been so excited and anticipating the show. And I want to share with Ideal Protein Nation, I've got security camera footage here in my office of how Lynn and I have looked all week as we've been getting ready for the show, right? This is Doc and Lynn in our office getting prepared to do a show with Janeva.
Just a little excited, right? Just a little.
Just a little, right? All right. So yeah, all right, enough of that. There we go. There she's back, right? So today we are going to talk with Janeva from her home kitchen, which is going to be crazy cool. And we're going to be talking about the cool things that she's got going on. She did her first official Ideal Protein collaboration, which was the Ideal Protein baking kit. I don't know if you have seen or heard of this kit. So we're going to talk to her about how this idea came about, the process to put it together, and all the cool things that are a part of that. And in the second half of the show, we are going to talk about the upcoming launch of what will be her 6th cookbook, which is just the latest edition of the most popular Ideal Protein cookbook on the internet today, Janeva's Ideal Recipes. Okay, stop talking, Doc. Let's bring her in.
Get her on, yeah.
Let's get her on. Let's bring her out. None other than Janeva Eickhoff. Hey, there she is.
Hello, Ideal. Hi, how are you?
So excited that you're here today.
I'm just thrilled. I can't wait. It's going to be a great show.
We've had a lot of fun just making sure that everybody's equipment worked and that everything was set up. We almost didn't turn on the record button because we were having so much fun, but we figured we would let Ideal Protein Nation in on what was going on. So let's get right into it because, man, I don't know. We might even have 2 shows here today.
Okay.
Janeva, I would just like to, I tell you, your first show, episode 20 of the Life Possible podcast, for people who may or may not have seen or heard that one yet, it was February of this year where we did our first show together. Yeah, It's been a long year.
See, yeah, seems like yesterday.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But that said, we went through a lot of your personal history, your Ideal Protein story, and all that stuff. I wanted to do kind of a quick recap of that. I wanted to kind of talk real briefly about your own Ideal Protein journey and, where we find ourselves today.
Okay. When I started Ideal Protein, it was in 2013. And it started in a beauty salon. I had gone in to get my hair cut. I hadn't seen my hairdresser for 6 months, and I didn't recognize her. It's a very small shop. She turns around. She had lost 80 pounds in 6 months. No wonder I didn't recognize her. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. So, of course, when she started cutting my hair and doing all that fun stuff, I asked her, of course, how she did it. She went on, she gave me a brochure. She had brochures sitting right on the countertop there. She wasn't a clinic owner, but there was a local clinic, and she was so thrilled with it. She sent a lot of her own clients over to the clinic. So, she went to the back room. She came out with a cup of coffee for me and had some the ready-made vanilla drink put in it for me. And she said, "You know what? If I can lose weight, you can lose weight too." And that rang in my head because I thought 80 pounds is triumphant. And I had about 35 to lose. So off I went to the clinic in the next couple of days and set up an appointment and started the Ideal Protein diet. And about between 10 and 12 weeks later, I was down 35 pounds. It melted off. Now, I was coming into, now the ladies my age, I'm 60 now, but the ladies my age back then, I was
You
coming
are
into
not.
I am.
You are not
Unbelievable.
Yes.
45.
Yes.
No, well, thank you. But I was coming into menopause, and that's always a struggle for us ladies. Everything slows the metabolism, the hormones, all that kind of thing. And I had tried so many different ways to lose the weight. Weight Watch. I've been on Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig. You name it. I tried it. And when I approached Ideal Protein, I came into it, I was hopeful, but I wasn't convinced it was going to work. And it was mind blowing how each week I saw improvement. And even when I leveled out some weeks, I still lost inches. And that taught me too how important it's not just about the weight and the pounds. It's about the inches that you lose too. So, and then, I moved into maintenance relatively quickly, and there you go. That's really my journey.
Yeah. And so evidently too, you know a thing or two about cooking.
Well, it's really just been a passion of mine since I can remember, and how it sort of ties in to the Ideal Protein diet was in 2013, the largest group besides the Ideal Protein social media group. There was a support group of about 1,200 of us, and that was it. It was a very intimate, smaller group, and we were all struggling on what to cook and what to eat. And you can only eat steamed broccoli and grilled chicken so long. It's not sustainable. It doesn't taste good. You just can't wait to get out of the diet. Well, if you're going to do the journey and learn how to become healthy and eat later on, you have to find good things to eat. And so I just started creating and sharing recipes with the group. And eventually the group grew, and then I started the cookbook page and sharing recipes. And the group eventually asked if I could put the recipes in a cookbook for them, so they had a tool they could use just right then and there. And that's when the ball started rolling. With Andrew got involved, the regional, my favorite, Andrew.
RVP Andrew, yep.
Yes, and then connected me with Ideal Protein, and the rest is history. And so it kind of just organically grew into where it is today. So it's been fun.
Yeah, and again, Lynn speaks so highly of the fact that you just brought out. She wouldn't have made it through. She lost 183 pounds.
When Dr. Barnes handed me your cookbook, I did not realize what a life changer that would be. Not only for myself, Janeva, but for my whole family.
Yeah,
I can't.
We're going to talk about that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that too, right? But, 183 pounds, that was over how long too, Lynn? That was
13 and a half months, like you said.
You can't do that. You can't do chicken and broccoli for 13 and a half months, right?
But you can do melt-in-the-mouth pork tenderloin and unstuffed cabbage soup and crack slaw.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And some baked goods. Throw some in there for the sweet tooth. And for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is such a game changer. I do want to touch on something here too, because I don't know, I think there's some misconceptions out there, and especially with the new work that you've done. But are you employed by Ideal Protein, Janeva?
No, I'm not employed by them. I've never been employed by them. I just, I'm a client just like most everybody else. I went through the journey, and the reason I stay with Ideal Protein, writing recipes and supporting and helping others, is because it changed my life too. Yeah. And I choose Ideal Protein. I could write recipes for whoever. I don't want to. I choose Ideal Protein. I choose IP Nation. It's like Christmas every morning for me to wake up and work with the people on the cookbook page and that kind of thing. So no, the bottom line is I work for myself. I'm self-employed and a client of Ideal Protein.
You know, I thought that was so poignant and powerful when we were talking the other day. That again, you could have just created a low carb cookbook, you know, and for that matter, your own diet plan. But
No,
you choose, you know, the
I
ideal
do.
protein protocol.
I will always choose ideal protein. I know
Because
that.
it was definitely the best thing that you've ever tried. It's the best thing that most people
Yeah.
will ever try. It has the most
Mhm.
potential for life-changing health benefits.
Yes.
And so again, it's just your way of making it easier for others to make the same transformation that you made. And that really hit me yesterday, that I said, you know, we really do have to spotlight that. The other thing that I liked that you brought out in my first show when talking about the cookbook and Andrew Eickhoff and RVP and what have you is that, you know, you went to the company when you were creating this book, when it was getting
Mhm.
to be big enough that you kind of needed to say, hey, by the way, I want to do this right. I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to
Correct.
infringe on any copyrights or anything. You know, how can I go about this the right way?
Correct.
And for me, that was super powerful to find out too. Such a neat, you know, a neat collaboration, so to speak. I mean, just to
Right.
make sure that you were crossing your
Yes.
T's and dotting your I's.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
so, you know, for me, that just kind of solidified that deal. Um, so I tell you what, let's do this then. Let's get on to the first part of our show. And the first part of our show is going to be your first official collaboration with Ideal Protein as a company. And that turns out to be the Ideal Protein baking kit, right?
Yes, yes. It was
How
so
awesome
fun.
is that? It
Yes.
is so
It's
fun.
yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing kit. It was so fun doing it with them too.
So again, I know everybody is probably fascinated about, you know, how did this idea of an official collaboration come about? How did that turn into, hey, let's do a baking kit? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you know, over the years, I've always had a good business relationship with the people from Ideal Protein, and you know, it wasn't really until the last podcast. It was in February when you and I had the podcast. There were some people from Ideal Protein that had listened to it, and
Wait, you mean
Mel
they listened to it too? Hey, that's
I
kind of
think
cool.
I think so,
I
and
like that.
and Mel Stack was one of them, and Andrew, and probably several others. But and we just I was contacted by Andrew, and then eventually we had a video conference with Mel, and we just started brainstorming about you know, a collaboration. We're on the same team. We're on the same team, and so we just wanted to put together a fun project
Yeah.
for all the dieters, and something special. And so it was, you know, Ideal Protein's idea to do the baking kit. I worked with Suzanne Bouchard the whole time. She was amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to say this, and they don't pay me to say this. I realized after working with the people behind the scenes is we have an amazing group of people behind Ideal Protein. I mean, you might
Yeah.
think of them as this large corporation, but behind the scenes, it's a people caring for people business. And
Yeah.
I found that working with them, they work through with their hearts. They are so all about making sure that their clients and all down to the dieters, that they're successful. So I just wanted to shout out to the people that I've met from there. It was an amazing group to work with. But
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. That's been our experience for sure.
Good. Yes. Yeah. And so Suzanne and I started talking about the baking kit, and that's when they asked me to come up with the recipes, and we wanted all brand new recipes that were exclusive to the kit. And so since COVID started, I had really started working on baked goods. I wanted to improve the baked goods. I wanted to take them from, I mean, let me go back. You know, I was talking about the beginning of time. I started working with these powders, treating them like flour and that kind of thing. we didn't have any bread. So when I came up with some of the first baked goods and breads, we're like, yay, we get to eat cupcakes. We get to eat bread. Were they great? No, not really. But you know what? We enjoyed them because it was close enough for us to enjoy them.
Now,
so
wait,
over the
have to interrupt you. Those jumbo
Yeah.
chocolate chip cookies, you're not going to mess with those, okay?
No. I mean, there's been from the beginning. I have some. You should see some of the photos I have from 2013 to now. It's just it's kind of cute actually, because you can see the evolution of the baked good.
Oh, that's cool.
And so as I started working with these products to do that, now for me, it's a no-brainer. I've got it. I've sort of nailed it down. I haven't sort of. It's nailed down. I mean, these baked goods are so good that they compare to standard baked goods at a regular
and I
bakery.
tell you what, we are going to sample some of those baked goods during the show here. So yeah.
When can we start?
Well, I already did, but I'm not going to tell you, ladies. Right? So yeah, let's do this. Let's figure out. I don't know how many people have received the baking kit or seen the baking kit in their clinic and even know what's in the baking kit. So I tell you what, in order to do this properly and show everybody what's there, I have a short video of somebody unboxing the first baking kit as it arrived in our clinic.
Janeva had revealed it was coming out on the Facebook page, and I hounded Dr. Barnes, hounded him.
So, well, here's the other thing that people don't know, right? So, Janeva and I, ever since the show, we talk off and on. We message through Facebook, and sometimes we include Lynn. Sometimes we talk about But she mentioned, hey, I think I might do a cool project with Ideal Protein. I'm like, oh, cool. What is it? And she's like, well, I can't tell you. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't tell me? And I'm like, yeah, she'll tell me. I'll get her to tell me at some point. So just be cool. And so, a few weeks ago by, hey, how's that thing going with Ideal Protein? Oh man, we're moving forward. I'm so excited. Oh, neat. What is it? I can't tell you. So literally she couldn't tell me, right? And I want everybody to know she maintained her integrity and her secrecy as much as I put the screws to her. And, it was funny because Ideal Protein announced it to the clinics that this thing was coming out. And I was like, oh, okay. I think I have an idea as to what it was. So yes, we couldn't be more excited about it. And as soon as Lynn caught whiff of it, man, I ordered it the first day, the first hour it was available, and they came in on the day that Lynn was here. So without further ado, let's watch as Lynn unboxes the Ideal Baking Kit.
It's cute.
Ta-da! Ta-da, ta-da. So excited. Look at that. Nice wrapping. Wow. Get that out of the way. Wow. Nice. Janeva said this little tool is really awesome. Oh, I got to open it all up here. This is what I've been waiting for too. Can't wait to get using this one. Look at the cute little pans. Oh my gosh. And wonderful spoons. All right,
you gotta look through that. It's so cool.
Is it so cool? Oh my gosh, who are we kidding?
Doesn't that look so yummy?
Whoa, let's leave and start baking right now.
I know.
I love it.
I was
so adorable. Oh my
Even
Yeah.
gosh.
the box. I couldn't
Aw.
get beyond the wrapping of the box.
I know, isn't that beautiful? It's just,
Yes.
it's so
Yes.
professional, just beautiful. I love it. Yep.
Yes, even I will say that I was super impressed when we opened up that first box.
Yes, it's very
How gorgeous
impressive.
it was.
Yeah.
I thought we were at Williams and Sonoma. And yes, that video was shot by Mandy Smith, the heart and soul of our office here.
Yeah.
And they did. They literally were conspiring. I caught them trying to leave to go back. Right?
Never a dull
what did-
moment.
The next
Dr.
time
Barnes.
that I came into the office, what was waiting for you?
Oh, I knew.
sir?
Well, see, that was my selfish part of that whole thing. Was I knew as soon as I could get the baking kit in her hands that we would have fresh stuff to eat the next time she came in. In fact, I wasn't even supposed to work with her, but I came in anyway because I knew she was going to have some stuff, right? Yeah, so it's so amazing. What the heck? You opened so many things. What is in this kit? Just give us the rundown, and then I do want
Okay.
you ladies. I want you ladies to kind of talk about them individually and kind of go through. Yeah, but go through each one.
Do you want me to go through each tool?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that. And
Okay.
Lynn has examples if you don't have
Okay.
yours.
I do have them here, and okay, so I see her bringing that whisk up, so I've
I
got
love
mine here
it.
too. It's honestly my favorite tool. Suzanne came up with this one, and it's a ratcheting whisk, that when you put it on, well, the nice part about it is that you can put it, if you have liquid, you can put it in a real shallow bowl, and when you ratchet it, the liquid doesn't fly all over the place. The other
wait.
thing is,
Hang on.
What?
Time out, Geneva.
okay,
I might have a video that would demonstrate. Do I have? Oh, hang on.
He's looking.
That
yeah,
was literally Lynn this morning in her kitchen as she was using. You should have seen what I did. So Mandy and I opened the packet before Lynn got here, the first time the baking kit came, and I'm like, okay, this whisk thing is supposed to be so cool. So I pull it out and I'm like waving it around, going, I don't see it ratchet. I don't understand the ratchet. And Mandy's like, okay, it does this. No idea.
Alrighty. Yeah,
No idea.
It's funny. It's funny.
That's why Lynn does the baking in this office.
That's right.
But this one, it's you can, before you can stir like the dry goods with it. You don't ratchet the dry goods; they'll go flying everywhere. But you can use it as a stirring tool, and then move over into the liquids, and you'll get scrambled eggs so quickly. And it's just it doesn't take much to use a ratcheting action. It's awesome. In fact, the other day someone asked me how to mix the dry chocolate mix into the water and make so it wasn't clumpy. Hello. I mean, I made a mocha coffee I put hot coffee in a cup and then put the dry mix on the hot coffee and put it in there, and it was smooth and creamy in no time at all. I mean, I use this tool outside of the baking kit as well. I will never be without one, and I want at least 4 of them in my kitchen because when this one's dirty, I'm really upset.
Yes.
And now, right after I use it,
right away. Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
wash it right away.
Yes.
So that it's ready for the next time. Yep. So agree, Lynn. This is just, isn't it fun to use this one?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I agree with what you said. They have to sell them individually because I'm constantly, as I make my next batch, this has to be washed and ready to
Yeah,
go.
exactly. Yeah, and it does actually, once you put the dry mix with the liquid ingredients, if it's thin enough batter, it also makes that super quick. It's just a time saver. We all love time saving things, don't we? Right?
And Janeva, now that you say time saver, I just want to bring up at this point, when people say bake, you think it consumes so much time, but your baked goods from start to cleanup, I can make a batch in 20 minutes.
Yes, easy, super
and that's
easy.
what people have to realize.
Yeah,
Start to cleanup, 20 minutes.
Yes, right. And they cook really fast, or they bake really fast as well. So if you're, and I never thought about it that way, because if I want a muffin in the morning, I think nothing of it to just grab the mixes and make one. And within like 15, 20 minutes, I've got a fresh hot muffin. So yeah, I'm all about easy. I'm about easy, time saving, all that stuff. But I also want to make sure that things taste good. I want a good something good tasting too. So without compromising that. So should we go to the next tool?
Let's go to the next tool. What do we got, ladies?
Okay, this one I cannot live without, and this is, you got it too. This is the cake tester. It's got a little plastic sleeve you have to take off of there, and so instead of using toothpicks to check the baked goods, so in a recipe it'll say bake 8 to 10 minutes. Why is there such a varied range? Because not all ovens are created equal when it comes to calibration. So yours might cook hotter than mine.
Yes.
And so I use my oven. They're relatively new appliances. So if it takes 9 minutes for me to come to bake one, I go on the bottom side and the top side of those minutes. So that's how I calculate that, because some some ovens will be cooking hotter and some less hot. But I always say, like, if it says 8 to 10 minutes, always start with the lower minutes and check it then.
And then check that. Yes. Emphasize that.
So if it says 8 to 10, start at 8, check it. If you put this right in the center and it comes out, I feel it just like this, and if it's wet, keep baking. If you put it in there and it's dry, you're good to go. Take it out right away, because you don't want to overbake these things. So
do you like?
Go ahead.
Like I take it out and I lick it, and then is that how? No.
You keep the paper towel or the rag right there. And I found, Janeva, sometimes
because if I get stuff on there, I'm like, hey, I got stuff on there.
We're going to use it for other batches.
Right. Yes. Well, you can, but you have to dry it off. So have a towel nearby.
Okay.
How's that?
And I found I like things ooey gooey, and so sometimes I'll underbake a little bit to give me that ooey goo.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
I mean,
every person
make it your own.
Yes,
make it your own. That's what I say. I mean, and then the other end of this tool, so it's a multi-function tool. If you can see, it's kind of curved like this. The edges they're not sharp, like they're not going to cut you, but they're sharp enough so that when you want to take the baked good out of the pan, you just edge it around the pan, and then you lift it out with this curved tool. It's whoever made this is genius, because it works way better than spoons, forks, knives, that kind of thing. And so this is another one I'm mad when if it's dirty, or if it's in the dishwasher or wherever it is and I can't find it, because I use it all the time. And you don't have to buy toothpicks anymore or waste money on toothpicks. This thing will last you a lifetime. So that's
great.
Yeah, that's my favorite, I think. And then can we talk about the spoons?
Come on.
Okay, you might
talk about the spoons.
Okay, I mean,
there's spoons.
Well,
no
I know.
Spoons.
And you think I'm going to tell you what's special about these spoons.
Tell us what's special about these spoons.
Okay, first of all, I love them because they're a durable plastic. They're not flimsy at all. Talk about a lifetime use out of these. They're sturdy. When I measure with these spoons, I love it because it just feels accurate. Some of the metal spoons that I have, I don't enjoy using them because I can't explain. It's like the edges are, they don't have the sharp edges where you're going to get a clean swipe. The other thing I like about these is that they're oval shaped. Why are they oval shaped? Because they can fit into jars.
Janeva, the first time I could dip into my cinnamon jar like that and pull it out.
Like smart.
Yes.
It's ergonomic. It's functional. I've also got a set of rectangle ones, but I like these. This has become my favorite set.
Yeah.
I don't know why I like the oval ones like this better. And this has got the 1/8 teaspoon measure.
Yes.
Now, most measuring spoon sets don't have that. So I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to, especially to baking. And you kind of have to be, because it's more of a science than cooking. But so that's where, and especially writing books, you have to know exactly what you put in. You can't say, well, throw in, a smidgen of this or that.
Yep.
So I use this a lot. And they do, then they come apart. So if for whatever, if you like to use them individually or in a set, and you can just hang them from.
I want some more sets of those. I want one.
I do too.
For wet and one for dry.
I've got two, and it's all I use. I don't use my metal ones anymore. The other thing is they'll never rust or oxidize. So that's what I like about them too. And last but not least,
this is why I love this, right? Because I'm looking at them going, they're just spoons.
Yeah,
right?
no, there's more to it.
I do a fair amount of cooking in my house, and I really, as soon as I had read somewhere about the idea of them being ovals that they fit, I was like, oh, absolutely. My round ones, I'm like, oh crap, and then it's all over my counter, and it's
right,
right,
absolutely.
yeah, no. So, and you just brought out so many things that I didn't think about. That's why they're special spoons.
Yes, exactly. So, and last but not least, what do you call these, John?
Oh, the sombrero. I was so excited that the sombreros for the Fisher Price people came. I was like, oh, so the kids can play while we're baking, and I got these little sombreros and
And
what are the little sombreros?
Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm not used to this on camera. Look at the tool that's
oh
yeah.
No.
My goodness.
She's doing it.
I don't want to drop it on the desk, so it has to go down.
I'll still eat it.
Yes.
You still will eat it. Look, and then you can do this with the
5-second rule.
Yes.
Wow. So talk to us about those.
Okay, these were included. It's just a fun little individual size pans that you can make donuts. So for those that have sweet tooths like myself, they make excellent donuts. Was that just that was a chocolate donut that you held up there?
It sure was.
Yeah.
I had to get my book that dropped.
Okay. Okay. And then that also makes bagels. So for savory sandwiches and stuff like that, it works really well. We chose the silicone because that's the one.
Just show the picture.
Yeah.
Just show the picture, Lynn. There you go. Oh, no. Nope.
You know what?
See?
Not pretty darn close, Scott. Look at that. Look at that.
Hey, why don't I have one of those over here?
You don't. But look,
why don't I?
Show them what you do have.
No, let's keep going.
All right.
Let's keep going.
Okay. So just real quick. So these are they're still made out of silicone. You do not have to spray silicone baking pans with cooking spray. So you can omit that. This is another cost saving situation there. And when they come out of the oven, you can really release these. You don't really even need the cake tester thing. You can just turn them inside out like this. Now, as far as cleaning, they look brand new after you take the baked good out of them. I just swipe them with a paper towel, with a wet paper towel. That's it. I let them dry. They go back in the cabinet. So they're pretty slick that way. So I've kind of moved to silicone for that reason. I don't have to use the cooking spray as much. The only time I would use some of my metal pans now is if I really want like a crust on something.
Got it.
That a metal pan would provide the crust, but for the most part, you don't want a crust on a donut anyways. I mean, it'll get too dry. So I like but you had mentioned, Lynn, if I like to address that you had made, I think it was pumpkin donuts, and you thought that they were dry and they got
a little too dry.
Okay.
What do you think I did?
It wasn't anything you did. I'm gonna guess that's so. There's a couple solutions, and you use these.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So, what kind of pan did you set them on when you put them in the oven? Was it just a standard, like rimmed bake?
Put them right on the rack.
Oh, you did. Okay. I put these on a baking pan. Because you can, as you fill them, you can set them on the baking pan and you can fill them, you can put them all in the oven at the same time. I believe that's in the directions, because we did discuss that remember discussing it. I have to look back at that now, but so
I'm going there right now.
okay. So here's the next solution. If you have a insulated baking pan, and a lot of people will have what's called an insulated baking pan, because when you're making cookies, for example, on top of the baking pan, there's an insulation bead between two pieces of metal, and it won't conduct the heat to the top of the pan. That way, you can get a perfect cookie that's cooked all the way through without the bottoms being brown. Okay,
Wow.
so it's the same concept with these. If you put these on a standard, let me just say this, not quality metal pan, it's going to conduct the heat quite quickly in the oven. So what will happen is the heat will come from the bottom of the pan up. So your top, when you go to check it, the top, it won't, the bottom might be done, but the top isn't going to be. So if all you have is just a regular aluminum baking pan, you don't have an insulated one, you could put maybe 3 or 4 pieces of parchment paper on there. Don't put aluminum foil because that conducts heat, but you can create your own insulation by putting the parchment paper, and just reuse the parchment paper. You don't have to use brand new parchment paper every time. You can just set aside that for doing your baking with this here. So I have a feeling that somewhere in there, that's what happened. If they're dry, they shouldn't be, because they've been tested.
It was right on the oven rack instead, and you do tell me to put it on a baking sheet. So
Okay.
I was one at a time.
Yeah. Okay. So that might, because the racks are, during preheating, the racks are going to have some heat too. So what was happening, I think, is the bottom was actually cooking faster or baking faster than the top. So when you were checking it, that scenario happened.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. If in another case where you can always add shredded zucchini, of course, to any baked good. I use about 1/4 cup of shredded zucchini to every 1 packet of Ideal Protein product that's in the recipe. So if you're using 2 products, I use 1/2 cup, and I always pat it dry before I add it, because it is very wet. You're going to get some goopy, hard to cook, batter if you don't pat it dry with paper towels. So hopefully those solutions, I'd be interested in hearing if they work for you.
I will try it again the right way and let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We're learning so much. This is great.
Good.
And like we were talking about earlier, Lynn very frequently hides vegetables in her baked goods to try to get me to eat them. But
and it works, doesn't it?
It does.
I still haven't had a mushroom yet, so don't
wait. Just wait.
It's not. Not going to do it.
I have some mushroom powder from an Italian restaurant. I can't send that to him.
Get it.
That would be
I
funny.
need to capture his face when I bring him in a new baked good or new soup, and he's always scared.
This is my favorite mushroom, right? That's my favorite mushroom. All right,
the dancing mushroom.
We digress.
So I'm going to ask another question, Janeva. I'm sorry. If my baked goods, they kind of sink sometimes once I get them out of the oven, is that because I'm under baking them?
No, usually it's what makes baked goods wet batter rise is going to be your leaveners. And with these baked goods, the leaveners are going to be either the whole egg whites, or baking powder or baking soda, whatever. Those would be your leaveners in this case. So they would make it rise. There's a couple different reasons why it would sink. One, when you're making the baked goods, in every recipe that I have, it's really important to mix the dry ingredients first. The dry ingredients include the dry leavener, which is in most cases it's going to be baking powder, and it'll distribute the powder evenly throughout that mix. That's really important, because if you just dump everything together, you might have a clump of that baking powder stuck over in the corner of the of your bowl, or one side of the bowl, and then when you go to bake it, you don't have any leavener for the rest of it. So what'll happen is the process of baking, the science of baking, when it goes into the oven, it starts to rise and those bubbles start to form. But when you take it out of the heat, it collapses, because it doesn't have that leavener. It doesn't have that leavener mixed in with it.
Wow.
This
So
will
that
be getting used for my dry goods.
yeah, so make sure that dry goods are mixed well. I do have these baking tips, by the way, in the book when we get to the book. So it'll help people make a really a nice end product. The other thing is after you put the dry mix together with the liquid ingredients, mix it real good, put it in the pan, and then get it into the oven in the center rack. In fact, always, rule of thumb, put everything on the center rack unless the recipe states otherwise.
Okay.
So, and after you put the the batter into the pan, you're going to want to get it into the oven right away, because you might have noticed in some of your batters when you mix them, you'll start to almost see them bubble a little bit. That's activating. The wet activates the baking powder, and once the baking powder hits that liquid, it'll start to sort of foam up and start creating those bubbles we need to have, good breads and cakes and stuff. If you let it sit there too long, it'll eventually deactivate, and it'll, and then now you'll have you won't have that bubble rise. So get them into the oven just as soon as you put the batter in. Just get them in the oven and get them baked. So I've never had a deflated baked good ever, except for in the beginning when I was doing trial and error, and that was 8 years ago. So these things do work if you just make it habit to do them, and you'll have a nice baked good.
I'm not using the center rack all the time, so right there.
Oh, interesting.
Right there.
Where is your oven
so I'll
rack
have
set?
it like on the second rung, and then I might be overstuffing the oven too, because then the next one, they're closer together, but I'm putting two because I'm tripling and quadrupling the recipes most of the time.
Oh, interesting.
Which was another question you were going to ask. Yeah.
Okay. Because what will happen when you start stacking, you should stagger them. And the reason why is if you have standard ovens, you're going to have heat rising from the bottom. Now what happens if you stack them, this bottom one is getting baked and the top one's not getting the heat. So they're going to bake at different rates. If you stagger them, they'll have the same heat. Having said that, the lower rack is going to bake faster than the higher rack, which is why in baking or cooking, you use the center rack and then you get even heat from every direction. It gets tricky, like during Thanksgiving when you have a lot of dishes going there. That's a different animal for a different show. But for baking, yes, I roast vegetables on the bottom rack because it's close to the heat and it caramelizes quickly. But for baked goods, always in the center. So if you triple it, do you find that you have enough room in there, or
I need to pay attention. That might be when I get a little bit. Yes, I will have enough room. Like for the little muffins that you just gave, I have a 24. So I'm doing 4 batches right off the bat, and that's just my one silicone pan. And so that is totally fine. But the muffins, there's a lot of when I do breads, I tend to do a couple batches of breads right away. Okay. Yeah. I just do some testing yourself and see, with that in mind, and see how it affects things. Because in that case, you might want to just mix a batch, get that cooking, go to the next batch. Okay. And start mixing that. And then right when the other one is coming out of the oven, then put your wet, put your wet and dry together then. Don't let it sit on the counter waiting. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Yes, is that clear? Okay. Powerful tips. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Oh, sorry.
And
Hey, you know what? I've got to say the last 5 to 10 minutes is amazing information, amazing stuff, right? Yeah, I bake one thing and one thing only, and that's my wife's German chocolate cake on her birthday.
Oh, wow.
And to me, that was fascinating. You talk about mixing dry ingredients, because that is a part of the recipe that I use. And they talk about mix them in a bowl or whatever. I'm like, yeah, there they go. Yeah, good enough. But that's, again, for me, paying attention to that detail might mean the difference between what
a good product and not.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
You know, stuff like that, and the whole idea of the whole cookies on the pan thing. I had no idea
Yeah.
about that, right? Why are
Yeah.
they always
Yeah.
black on the bottom?
Well, it was the reason I bring that up too is because years ago when I worked for a company down in the Twin Cities, I would bring cookies in for everybody because I love to bake. And the general manager came up and he said, "How do you get your cookies not to be so dark on the bottom? My kids don't like that at all. And when I bake cookies for them, they're too brown on the bottom and they just don't like it." And I said, "Get an insulated baking sheet." He did, and he just was thrilled with the insulated baking sheet. And what I like about those sheets too is they never get that I don't know, oxidized look that, you know, some of the baking pans can get kind of seasoned looking, for lack of a better word.
I like that. I'm picturing all the pans in the bottom of my oven right now.
Yes.
And they get pretty dark and dirty, but the insulated ones don't, and it's
Fantastic.
an amazing tool in the kitchen. So,
hey, I tell you what, you've shown it once or twice, but let's get to the book.
Okay.
This is the crown jewel of the baking kit, right?
Yes.
This is it right here. Like, this is, if we haven't tantalized you with the tools, man, this cookbook is, you need to have this, right? Oh,
yeah,
Lynn's got it right there.
Off the bat. Look at that.
Right?
Chocolate. Oof.
Yes. Yes. It was really fun putting the recipes together for this one. You know, the one request was make them good, or make them good and unique, and that's exactly what's in here.
Time out. You mean these aren't just recipes from your other books, Janeva?
No, they're not. They're brand new, they're unique, and they're only available in the baking kit. So you won't see them any other place.
I can't find those anywhere else.
Christmas gifts, IP Nation, Christmas gifts, holiday
yes,
gifts.
I you know, if anybody gets this baking kit for Christmas, I think they would just be thrilled. Especially, you know, when you talked about the way that was presented in the beginning, the boxes is quality. In fact, I'm keeping the box for other things. I just can't throw it away. It's quality and easy to open, and I like the way it opens. The tissue paper and all that. It's just beautiful. So if you want a baking kit, tell your significant other or whoever,
right?
Whoever's going to buy for you, tell them about this, because I feel like it's such a joy to work with, especially over the holidays, and you just won't feel left out. So.
Well, let's start talking about some of these recipes.
Okay.
We got some great pictures, and I'm just going to say that the pictures are just absolutely beautiful.
Yes,
those were done professionally by
the quality is amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. Yes, yep. It tells a story, doesn't it, about the baked goods?
Oh, yeah. So what do we have here in these pictures?
That would be the honey mustard bagels. They're so good. Yeah, and it's a savory bagel. You can just serve it with, you know, a soup, or make sandwiches, slice and make sandwiches out of it. It's really a flavorful bagel. So good percent. Yeah, and the one on the right is the ooey gooey chocolate bites. That one is one of my favorite desserts is lava cakes, chocolate lava cakes. Yeah. I mean, you've got a nice baked good on the outside, and then you cut into it and you get that oozing hot, delicious chocolate on the inside. And so this is kind of reminiscent of that, as well as John and I had talked about this before. For Christmas baking, my mom would always make cookies where you put the chocolate kisses on top. Yes. Or you'd put you know, they had the peanut butter cookies, and then you'd take and put the peanut butter cups and press them into the dough, and then cook them. And it's sort of that, it's a cross with that combination and a lava cake. And I talk about that because the outside is very cake-like, and then you get that gooey center to it. And the nice thing about that particular recipe is you can eat them right out of the oven. Or if they're cooled, they taste good either way. Some of the baked goods, and I just want to, they're better when they're cooled. I don't really know the science behind that, but they are, and they're so. But this particular recipe, eat them right away. or bring them to work and eat them cooled off. They're just
Three of them are one IP serving.
yeah.
And what I will share is those were the first things that Lynn baked and brought in last week.
Okay. Yeah.
I squirreled away a couple in my desk drawer. And this thing is still moist and ooey and gooey today.
Really?
Oh my God. I'm telling you.
I feel left
Unbelievable. Well, as I said, you better get yourself something to eat because we're going to eat her way through the show.
Well,
I'm going with the caramel one right now.
Okay. I've got the salted caramel chocolate clusters. Those are my favorite little snacking things. Do you have the raspberry ones yet?
Not yet, but I believe they just came up available to order, so we're hoping to have those in by next week.
I can't wait. Those are that's going to be amazing.
But so Lynn made these this morning, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Can you see?
This morning.
So Lynn, which ones are these?
These are the peanutty chocolate bites. And I use the caramel peanut bar since we don't have the recommended baked chocolate peanut butter bar. And that
those two,
bit of melted caramel. Yes.
I don't know if you can catch that on camera, but
that's a good one.
Oh.
That's a good one.
And again, for me, you ladies keep talking about this being a great Christmas gift. You got to get this to people 2-3 weeks before Christmas because this is what's going to get you through Christmas, especially if you're on phase one.
Yeah.
Because
great.
I don't care what cookies are laying on that plate. If I've got this, I feel like I'm right in there too.
Me too.
Absolutely unbelievable. And the bar, the cut up bar, like the candy on top it's amazing.
Yeah, it's just a nice surprise too, something different, different textures to foods add interest too. It's not just, you eat the same texture over and over. That's no bueno. That is not good at all.
So we wrap up one of these bites in a little baggie with the ribbon, and some of our fortunate clients get to taste them.
Well, how nice is that? That's a good idea.
There it is.
This is what happens if you come to Barnes Chiropractic Health and Fitness in Centerville, Virginia.
Well, wow.
Soon to be Reset Wellness. Yep.
Yes.
That's
if you
very
become
thoughtful.
our client, this is what we have available for you.
Yes.
That's awesome. How thoughtful.
All right.
So,
all right. What else do we got?
Well, the book has a variety. There's 20 brand new recipes in there. I put in savory baked goods. I put in sweet baked goods for both people who enjoy both or one or the other. So I use a lot of herbs. I don't use a lot
of that cranberry pomegranate bread up there, sir.
All right.
That's good.
Look at the presentation.
The crumb on that one is isn't it? It's amazing.
Let's find out.
There's nothing dry about it. There's nothing rubbery. You literally feel like you've gone to the bakery and picked it up from a regular standard store. So
Janeva, this was frozen. What he's about to taste was frozen. And that's what I love about your products.
Mm-hmm.
So I can put these in the freezer, and when company comes, boom, there it is.
Yes. And here's another tip if you do that. So, for example, a situation where you've got a bread like that, a bread loaf, you can take it out and slice it with a serrated knife. It'll be frozen, but you can slice through it, put it in the toaster for just a little bit, and it tastes like it just came out of the oven. It is amazing. It doesn't dry it. It crisps up the outside like just like toast.
Oh, yeah.
But you really have to watch how long you have it in the toaster, because it quickly, you think, okay, this is frozen, it's going to take a long time. It doesn't. And it completely defrosts it and bakes it like it just came out of the oven. It's amazing. So kind of watch your toaster while it's baking. But that's another quick way. If you have frozen goods, you can eat them for breakfast like that. If you have them prepped ahead of time, you've got your breakfast without waiting for them to thaw. So
I will tell you the moistness of this bread and then the outside texture The contrast is so amazing. It
It's
literally
really,
is so amazing.
and it has little bits of the pomegranate in there, and it's got some texture again. You've got from the bar, and I mean, that one is. They're all my favorites. I wouldn't put them in a book if they weren't my favorites,
Okay.
but
There better not be mushrooms. In there.
We're not telling you
That's
what that
all I have to
powder
say.
is.
Okay, because this is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
That was
Yeah.
one of my favorites too. And now the lemon muffins. Whoa! When I was zesting that lemon, oh, my husband came
Wait.
out in the kitchen and he's like, "What smells so good?" And
fresh
and
lemon zest.
we've used your lemon scone and have loved your lemon scones
Yeah.
for a long time, but you just took it up a notch, okay?
It's very fragrant. It's very fresh. It lends a freshness much more than an extract ever could. I just want to speak quickly about lemon zest too, because I buy do you know the Meyer lemons versus regular lemons? Yes, I use the Meyer lemons, and if you ever get a chance to pick those up and try those, they're sweeter. There's something about them that takes away any sour bitterness, and the flavor that there's something about the peeling too. It's a darker yellow lemon. And the peel is nice and smooth and silky. And one more thing, sometimes they will only sell them in bags, and you get maybe 6, 7, or 8 in there, and you think, oh, how can I use those? Well, I cut them. I use the peel, the zest for baking and such. But I put them in my water, and you have especially with one of the enhancers. If you mix in an Ideal Protein water enhancer and then squeeze the fresh lemon in there, it's so good. It's so refreshing. And depending on the kind of glass you use a fancy one. Make it look good. Make it look appealing. Make it exciting to drink. If everybody else is having drinks that aren't on the phase 1 journey and that kind of thing. When you're storing those lemons, I've talked about this before, and I know this is kind of a little bit off topic, but I bought some of those Debbie Meyer green bags. Have you heard of those?
Yeah, you put that on, and I bought some and love them. Yes.
Okay. So they're called, I get them on Amazon, and they're green plastic bags that you store fruits and vegetables in. When you store them in there, just wind it up, put it in the fridge. The fruits and vegetables last like 3 times the longer. You can put in some these lemons. I had sort of forgot about them, and I thought, oh, they're going to be a science project, because it had been like 6 weeks. Seriously, I have so many ingredients in there, and so I pulled it out, and they were still good.
Are you kidding?
Wow.
No, it was just like over a month. It was probably over just between a month and 6 weeks. I had them in the Debbie, and they were amazing, perfect. So those are a good investment, especially on Ideal Protein when you have all these vegetables, and if you want a variety, I store them in those Debbie green bags, because then I don't have science projects all the time in my fridge, or I have to throw them away, which I can't stand throwing away produce.
Right.
It's just, I feel like I've done somebody wrong, so anyways, I just wanted to make mention of that. So we were talking about the lemon zest.
That's
Hey,
great.
I got a question about this lemon muffin. Are there chocolate chips in there?
Chocolate chunks.
Are those chocolate chips?
They sure
Chocolate
are.
chunks.
Right.
Chocolate chunks.
Yes, they sure are.
All right, you guys keep talking.
Okay. But how
All
many
right, so-
recipes have you made, Lynn?
You're looking at it right now. I did those last week. That was my first batch, and that's the pan I used.
Gooey chocolate chunks right there.
That was
Wow.
the first. And so then today I had some fun this morning. And like
Wow.
I said, an hour, and I had lemon the lemon muffins. I had chocolate donuts. I had the 24 pan of the peanutty. It goes really quickly, and you can have a massive amount of baked goods.
Yes, that's amazing. That looks really good, Lynn.
Yeah, it's fun.
So,
We have a closed Facebook page for our clients, and I try to do pictures like this to just put up for them and say, look, these are the ingredients. Here's what you can do. So
very practical. Have you spilled on your book yet?
You know, Geneva, speaking on books, okay? Last
Pardon?
time we talked, I told you and showed you what I did to my book. It's in little document protectors because I ruined my first book. Yes, I spilled, and you can't even tell because it wiped right off. Totally.
Yes.
Thank you for saving me having to cut and stuff.
Yes. So all the pages are laminated for the cookbook, and if you spill, easy wipe off. Now,
wipes right off.
Right, and that's. I mean, I use a cookbook holder, so I don't run into that typically because I've learned. I've also and most people don't have a cookbook holder or want it on their counter.
Right.
But you know, I use them. I have several open at one time sometimes, you know, and I'm just so.
And that's, again, I find it fascinating that every detail of each one of these pieces was thought out. And
it was,
you know, again,
really,
to the untrained, unthinking eye like mine, I got a kid's storybook. This is really great. It's cardboard, you know, and it's slick. And I'm like, good night, moon, good night. No, but there was absolutely, that's why, so that you can keep it clean and keep it right there in the midst of battle in the kitchen, and not have to worry about it.
And the spiral bound, we instead of it's spiral bound,
so it can, open.
Yes, it can lay flat on the counter, and you don't have to try and crack a binding because that's so hard to deal with those. And I'm not sure why it's just not standard practice to do spiral bound on all cookbooks for that reason. It's like a workbook, you know. You actually has a function to it. So
You were spiral bound in your cookbook, but I still messed up pages. And then you can't see it on camera, but I have sticky notes for all my most favorite recipes. And this is used, abused, and loved. Very good. Very
Lynn,
good.
It sounds to me like you could use a brand new cookbook to work with. I wonder if we can find a new one. But before we get to that, let's just tell the people, if they don't know at this stage of the game, how can I get this baking kit, right? So here's the deal. Go to your Ideal Protein clinic, all right? They should have them. And if they don't, you should be able to order it through your clinic. Geneva and I talked about this a bit too, because there are people that stick in her group who might not be doing phase one, but are still very interested in recipes and tools because they might be doing it from time to time. They might want to make those kinds of baked goods. And and their clinic closed, right? Or, you know, again, over the pandemic, we lost a lot of clinics, and it makes us so sad. So if you are not affiliated with a clinic, let's find you one. This is a great time for you to reconnect with Ideal Protein Nation. Find out who is around you, who's near you. So go to the Ideal Protein Clinic locator on the corporate webpage, www.idealprotein.com, and click on the button for locations and see if you can't find one near you that might have the baking kit there. You know what? And if neither one of those things work, I tell you what, just drop me an email, lifepossiblepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll figure out how to get you connected with somebody and get you one.
Dr. Barnes, can they wait until January or February to do that? They're just so busy right now.
Who?
People.
Clients.
Can they wait until January or February?
Sure. Why not?
Well, is this a limited edition?
Oh, Geneva, I don't know. Is this a limited edition, Geneva?
It is a limited edition. When they sell out, they sell out. And so I'd say if you're interested in one,
heck yeah, get on it now.
Get on it now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's how it's set up right now. If they plan to produce more, I don't know the answer to that at this time. But you know, we can always get that answered if we cross that bridge. So
Okay.
Yeah,
But,
fantastic. Yeah, I would be safe and get on it now, is
Yeah.
basically what she's saying.
Yep.
All right, so I don't know if this is going to end up being one show or two. So we're just going to say goodbye to everybody, pretend like we ended one episode, and we'll start the
Okay.
next episode.
It was
Okay.
great.
It was
Thank
great.
you for
Thanks,
having me.
Geneva. See you
Super
later.
fun. Okay.
All right,
Yep, see
somebody
you
bring in
again.
the dancing mushroom. All right, okay. Enough with that.